And look at Randy Orton slithering.
Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! KO! Here's the cover.
Hey, what's up everyone? Now we're back here today with a video. This time featuring two tanks that somehow have not been featured yet. Firstly in the Valor, and then the second game is going to be in the new WZ-111 5A QL that you can get with free XP. But first, we're on Mount Offa Winter in the T95 Chieftain, or Valor on the console version. Honestly, this tank came out quite a while ago now, and then this is honestly the first gameplay I've ever put up on the channel of it. And it kind of has to do with a couple of things, I guess. One, it's a heavy tank, so I probably don't play it as much as other things. It's because it gets very frustrating for myself. I don't really enjoy it, especially in matchups like this. Usually, Mount Offa itself isn't a bad map for this tank. Usually you would go hill, but if you look where my team's going, they're all on the left side of the map for some reason. So the hill is basically abandoned, except for a light tank going up there to spot for some reason. Again, not really a great light tank spot, but... And also we have two arties on the other team. So definitely not going hill. I would love to go hill, because that's where this tank would excel, in all honesty. But the way our team's deployed, it's not a smart idea to go up there by myself at all. I'd either get overrun super quickly, more than likely, or just focused by arty, or a combination of the both. So honestly, that's not going to happen. But our light tanks are yellowing in. Somehow they lit up the one arty, got him killed, and the other arty is lit as well at this point, as we put a second shot of damage into the IPEC 257. Kind of decided to take this spot just to kind of, I don't know, provide overwatch, and still can use our turret armor kind of in this tank. Again, the hull armor on this thing isn't great. The side armor is not bad. You can actually side scrape in it kind of well. It's got 80 mil. And apparently their already has just decided to kill himself, which is okay with me. I'm okay with that at this point in the game. And yep, he's gone. So now we maybe could have taken the hill, but these are things you really just don't know, or don't expect. I mean, honestly, nobody would expect both arties to be dead in the first 3 minutes of this game at all. But they are, and they really haven't sent much to the hill anyways either. But it's probably still more than enough to take the hill regardless, as our team's already up fairly handily at this point, 6-2. But that could change very quickly, because again, their team has control of the hill, which is a very, very difficult position to attack, and that's why it's so key to really take that position. It's just so dominant usually. It can be an issue here to where we just cap out. Surprisingly, that doesn't happen this game. Not that I remember, obviously, because I've just looked at the replay, and this game doesn't end by cap out, so spoilers, I guess. But yeah, this tank as good as it is on PC? If you've heard of it, no. But is it still really, 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 really good? Yes. I just don't play it that much, because again, it's a heavy. It kind of bores me a little bit. It's almost too good. I think I told somebody this. I like playing good tanks, but this thing is just almost, I don't know. It's rather boring to play, personally, myself. There's nothing super terrible about it. It's just rather dull. Like, yeah, I can crank out the damage in this, but is it really fun for myself? No, not really. Some people it is. It's fine. It's just for myself, I find it quite boring to play this tank, and even the WZ, and that's saying something, because I actually quite like the 5A, the regular texture variant, but the one they just introduced is, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of the idea, let's put it that way. It's just a little too good, personally, but that's the WZ, and we'll get into that in the second game. So the Valor, we're just using the ridge lines that we can at this point, slapping people with that 440 alpha that this gun does have. Not really doing a review on this thing or the other tank at all, because they're already been out for quite a while. But you could have earned this thing in the Valor op. I don't know if you can earn it, as their light tank makes a great driving area there and flips himself on the side. If you can earn this tank with free XP, I haven't really checked. I haven't been playing as much lately just because it's that time of the year again for a lot of outdoor stuff. So I've said that in previous videos. But yeah, right now playing time's a little bit down as the entree does smack one into us as we're some reason focused on an upside down light tank. Not really the best decision making there. Just don't know why. He's jammed in there and stuck pretty good. So we're going to stop that. They're actually almost about ready to cap out on our team, but the enemy team gets a reset, which is good for us in terms of getting more damage out of this game. So far we've pretty much just been sat here farming. They can't really push down too hard because of our DPM, I think. Plus we have quite a few support tanks over here too. So it's been a good call. We pushed this flank a little bit, but not overextending. Is kind of the key there. It can be very easy just to go right to a position that you know is solid for your tank, go there, and then just get overwhelmed because there's just nobody there to help you. And that could very well happen this game, but didn't do that. And now we're just working our way through the middle, using this ridgeline again. And that's what I said, this is a good map for this tank because there's a lot of little bumps and stuff like that. We're just destroying the Supercon because he's in the open sideways on. E4 is looking our way, so we're not going to try to test that gun because that will pretty much just totally ruin us, as the Superconk is slowly trying to go back to reset, I guess, but he gets taken out. And it's been a very quick game for this thing. Not really a nail biter here. The second it's more of a nail biter, but this is probably the best game I've had in this thing so far. Again, I haven't played it too much. There's been people that really have been just killing it in this thing, and the WZ. So both these gameplays are good. Both above 7k damage, I think. But they're not like stellar, I guess. Like the max that you could see in these things by far. Which is why the marks are so hard on these. And I'll never really bother to 3 mark either of these tanks, more than likely. Just too frustrating, and I just don't care enough, honestly, as we finish off the Tortoise for our second kill and finish off that game with a nice 7,200 damage and 2,700 assisted. So a solid game, solid result in the Valor. A great tank, honestly, it is. If you can get your hands on it somehow, I honestly don't know. It may be available for free XP. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure somebody can correct me in the comments there. But finished that one off with 1,600 base. And somehow an ace. Again, a little surprising there, actually. It's probably gone down a little bit since it initially came out. Maybe less people playing it. Or more people. Either way, kind of offsets. But a solid game nonetheless. And yeah. Again, I guess to go on the subject of that, these tanks that are very, I guess, meta, is the word for it. They're like top of the class kind of stuff. They kind of just, for myself, bore me a little bit. Like I could easily hop in the Valor, WZ, and Superconk and like E4 all day and just wreck stuff. But honestly, I just find it boring. It's just no way to go about it. So now onto the second game where we're in the WZ-111 QL, which has actually, for some reason, 560 alpha. For I don't know why. And would you say, hey, it has worse DPM than the tech tree? Actually, it doesn't. It has about the same. Okay, so the maneuverability must be worse. Actually, it turns better. Yeah, I don't know. You'd think there'd be some negative to this. Maybe it's the god-awful looking skin. It probably is. I don't know. Maybe some people like that. I don't know. I don't. But we're here. We have a giant dragon on our barrel. And yeah, we're going to spew flames out if I shoot in third person, which you'll see also, which is kind of cool. But also kind of like, okay, whatever. At the same time. So we're on, what the map is this? Namahan. If I pronounce that wrong every time, it's okay. It's probably half the maps. But it's the team destruction variant, so spawns are a little funky, as we just have two very heavily armored TDs on their team just rolling through the center of the maps like the big bad boys they are, apparently. Yeah, they're just going to get pummeled by Artie as we watch this happen. Just 300 damage, 200 damage. Yeah, they're just going to get clicked on and clicked on and clicked on and clicked on. And I don't know what the idea for them is here, but that's okay. Fortunately for us, what that means is we're going to get spotted every time we poke this ridgeline. Just kind of double checking in third person if the Jaegeru is looking directly at me. We see him poking out, but we're able to snap one into the E3 before the Jaegeru is able to poke out and shoot. Making good use of the third person there to see if it's safe and take out an enemy tank, which is always a key skill to kind of learn, using different camera angles to be more situationally aware, I guess, of where people are looking. Right now, we're not at the best range for this gun. It's like only 0.39 accuracy, which isn't that great. We'll see that later on a lot more. And the pen on the AP rounds at this point is not very good, so we switched the heat for the tanks that we're fighting right now. The YAG, E3, and that 75A. A little questionable there, but that's okay. As the physics say, nope, we're sliding down a slip and slide as we go sliding on down the hill. Try to put one in the 75A, but the derpy gun handling kind of sends it down. And now the 257 apparently lost my content. No, I'm kidding. But he's just throwing his life away at this point. We don't really have the armor on this thing, so we're trying to bait shots with the tracks, anything like that. And we just try to outmaneuver him, and now he's just basically committing suicide. There's that flame shooting out of the barrel that you can see in third person, or if you see another one looking at this tank firing, you can see that as well. If that makes sense, I don't know. But so far, we've only done 4 shots of damage, but in this thing, that means about 2,400 damage, which is insane. Again, the alpha is 560 for a very, very short reload. And put that in perspective, that's basically like a YAG Tiger, but with a turret, and just the damage rolls just add up on this. You can roll for 700 damage in this thing. It's just crazy, as that was an E4 that just bounced off of me, so fun fact. Obviously, a little lucky there. Always nice to have a little RNG on your side as we're pushing towards their base here. This is a little risky because they have 2 Arties in play. We still have the heat rounds loaded because screw 279Es as well, and that stupid armor. We're never going to pen him with AP. So rather than needlessly bounce rounds off of him, we're going to save ourselves credits by penning with heat rounds, because otherwise we would just sit there more than likely with our 0.39 accuracy and just bounce off the Cabolas on the top, because that's what I would try to shoot if I had AP rounds loaded against the 279E. But that's still a very, very low percentage shot there. So save ourselves some time, use the tools to our advantage that we have, and just butter his upper plate with ease with the 340 heat pen on this thing, and just assert the dominance of tier 10 heavy tanks a little bit there. While this thing doesn't have the best armor, the gun and the DPM more than make up for it, and the mobility has good turret armor as well. Decent, I should say, not great, but decent. Obviously the Capolas are weak spots on this, and it does have decent gun depression as well. But what I like about it, and again, I like about the tech tree WZ, is the maneuverability. It's just so great. It's just beautiful. It's a thing of beauty. As now we're pushing the corner a little bit. I don't really like to be the front line heavy in this thing too much, because again, the armor isn't quite there. But we can try to make it work if we're pressed into that situation. We do have some support coming with a couple of TDs. As they slap them, see the heat rounds kind of not, or the AP rounds quite not having enough pen to go through the Badger's lower plate. Trying to go through it, and that one hits a weird angle in the undercarriage and doesn't pen. A little unfortunate, but it's okay. As we pop another one into the Object 260, as we ignore the Badger. Kind of humiliating there. We just drive by him, and now we actually spot the Artie. Try to line up the easy shot, and yeah, that's this gun. At range, it's not great. As you see, we missed pretty much a fully aimed shot on a broadside of a barn, the 212A. If you miss the second one, a little more chancy on that one. but still, you can just kind of see where this thing does have some weakness, which is at range, but that's not always that great. Or weakness is relying on RNG to be your weakness, I guess. That's not great. And here, we're being a little hesitant just because I know... I hit the mic too close. Yeah, the E4 is right there. We hit one on the move, but unfortunately it hit, but it didn't pen. It hit too low and hit the tracks. And right now, I'm thinking in my head, do I really want to push this? There's a medium to my left. He's a one-shot. Okay. There's another medium to my right. I don't know how much health he's on. And then there's an E4 on the high ground. Okay, that's not a good fight to kind of push into. Let's back up, try to deal with these tanks that are pushing around the other side. There's only 2 of them, and we should outnumber them and have better terrain to fight on. And just kind of realizing the situation there that, hey, that's not favorable to us. We're going to end up in a crossfire fighting uphill against a tank that is just as powerful at this tier, basically. Just call it a day and move on, basically. So, little lesson, I guess, in knowing when to call it quits on a flank. As sure enough, we're fighting a 430 who's a one-shot. Our 1315 tries to put a shot into him, but he's bouncing because he's probably auto-aiming on the upper plate with APCR. And we try to predict where the Tusk is coming from. Unfortunately, we don't quite get it right, but we do turn in time. He's not going to pen us. Use in third person and finish him off. That's a very key kill there. And a nice high roll, too. And you see the damage is just really stacking up at this point. We're already at 6,600. 55 or 1,500 assists, not 5,500 assists. That would be a mega monster game. But very key kill there in the light tank. As I always say in the videos, when I'm playing scouts, that vision at the end of games like this on wide open maps is key. And if we can get rid of the scout, that helps. They still have 2 mediums at this point. So that's kind of unfortunate. But the best way to kind of counter that, why it seems like I'm kind of endlessly going off to the left where there's really no tanks likely to be. I'm just trying to get up onto this hill to try to get some better positioning on them, hopefully. Because I'm guessing at this point that their 3 tanks are making their way over here. And maybe even going through the middle. Maybe we can catch the drop on them crossing. And sure enough, we do. Nice little thinking ahead there as we do get the spot on the full health E4. I know I want to get some shots into him. And possibly get him lit up for the Artie, who's going to continually spam negative and be a wonderful teammate. Unfortunately, our Grill is in a bad position. Sat down into that crossfire, that crossroads kind of area. So unfortunately, he's going to get killed. But if I had stayed there in that crossroad position, it would have been really great for us. It maybe still would have been possible to win. But with this position up here, it's going to be really hard for them to kind of push me. Especially with the 2 of them being, well, one's a one-shot, and the E4 is much more at home and on flat terrain, I guess. And that kind of brawling area, that's much more his domain. He can 2-shot me quite easily. I'd still have to put likely a couple shots into him. Last time I saw him, he was on 1,500 health. But I believe the Artie may have put a shot into him, so even then, still, it may be 1 or 2 shots for him as well. So, as our Artie friend just continually spams negative instead of just stopping it and just trying to focus on winning the game. And yeah, E6 tries to make a break for it. We shut him down before he can do that. He was kind of stuck there. I understand why he tried to cross. It wasn't like a dumb play. He could have maybe done something a little better as the E4 pokes his head around. It's a definite one-shot for us. Unluckily, that one bounces off the roof at that angle. Maybe with heat that would have gone through, but who knows. But the E6 was kind of just stuck between me and the Artie just pooping on him, so that's okay. As we line up the shot on the E4's engine deck, but our Artie friend takes him out to finish that one out for us. So we finished that game with decent amount of assisted, about 2K, 7,700 damage, and 5 kills. So yeah, not a bad result, a pretty good result in the WZ. A tank that I don't really agree with, having the same tank and just making it better as a deck tree variant. Not really my style of great additions, but whatever. It's a fantastic tank. If you're looking to use your 450,000 for XP on one of those, this is probably the one to do it on the or the M60. But until then, I will catch you next time. See you. Peace.